friends of mine who have like literally DM'd me, said, "This is the end of democracy."
But
Shut up.
This isn't the end, but this is how it starts. I think this is what I see.
You have catastrophic thinking because you've experienced it.
Because I see it, and I know how it starts. It starts real kind of like innocent shit. Like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if we had like more of this? And then you look up and everything is crazy. So you're right. People overreact, but also sometimes you got to overreact to get people to take the shit seriously.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This is the first time I've been concerned about America long term.
My only concern with America is it being like torn in half.
That's a big concern.
Yeah, like I think that's like the biggest objection. No. You right, Akaash, you right. No, meaning like, and that is my biggest objection to Trump, right? And I think that like anybody who's listening to this podcast, like I've been incredibly fair to fucking Trump, right? Like, but I think that so fair, like you know what I'm saying, but like you know what I mean, like so fair. But it's like there is something that you have to recognize that when you don't try at all to reach across the aisle, right? Now, some people that are like super pro Trump might go, but what about prison reform or something like that? Okay, and that's fair. That is. But I don't think that like prison reform is a strictly Democratic position, right? I think you could even argue that conservatives are like, yo, we don't want all these taxes going towards prisons. Like, get that shit out of there. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, when you only try to satisfy your base and you're not reaching across the aisle at all, you create a line of division that is incredibly thick. And by emboldening your base, you infuriate the opposition to the point where they hate each other. And when you hate the other person, when they're literally evil to you, that is the end of democracy. Because now we can't have the conversation. If you think I'm evil, and I think you're evil, how are we supposed to meet in the middle about this abortion shit?
And to that point, I think a lot of Trump's appeal, at least early on, to Republicans is look how much liberals hate him. Look how crazy he drives them. I love how crazy he drives my enemy. Enemy of my enemy, that's my friend.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's a whole fucking convergence of reasons he got elected. That's one of them, I think.
I think it just sucks that you have Biden, who's such a fucking stiff, right? Who is the only other
actual
option.
Corpse.
Yeah, who's just a corpse. And now you're in this really shitty situation, right? Because you recognize the division, right? Like that's why I was really annoyed with what AOC posted, right? She's like, I don't care if you don't like what he has to say. Vote for him anyway. It's like, what?
Well, I think
what? That's the end of democracy right there.
She's addressing people who clearly aren't gonna vote for Trump, but then think that like the answer is to just not vote. Like if your thing is that Trump is evil and Trump is bad and he's ruined the country and and so what are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna stay my ass home on election day. It's like, buddy, that ain't gonna solve the situation.
Right.
Now, she's doing exactly what you're talking about Trump did, which is I'm appealing to the base.
Exactly.
She's not reaching across for any like person who's like, I might be voting for Trump, but now she makes a great point, I'll vote for Biden. Right. That's not who she's talking to. She's talking to the people who are either going to vote for Biden or not vote at all.
And I think that's what annoyed me about it, because I hate that kind of tribalism.
Right.
Like what I want more than anything in America right now, like literally if I could pick a candidate, it would be the candidate that doesn't tear the shit in fucking half. And I don't know if Biden is capable to mend anything together. Can't even put a fucking sentence together, and I don't know how he's going to put this country back together. At the same time, I am concerned that like Trump, as we get close to the election, is going to lean further into the base, because that is what he does. He will support the base.
How much more could you
And it's brilliant what he did. We can't act like his strategy wasn't genius.
Because it works. Yeah. No, it works. But my point is this, is like once you've introduced the game, this is a new game now. The new game is I lean into my base.
Yep.
Then the aim of the game is to win. You're not going to win the election. Like, I know he's playing by these rules. I'm playing ones and two, or by ones only. He's playing ones and twos.
See, this is where I disagree with you a little bit. I think the Democrats underestimate what their base is. And I think that Republicans underestimate what their base is as well. So like Trump is leaning into the extremes. Right. Right. And because of that, Democrats have leaned into their extremes. Yeah. Right. And they've really created this polarization where there's this entire gap in the middle of the country, which most of us probably, Finn, I can't speak for you, but I know most of us in this room right now are sitting here in the middle going, these people on the left are fucking ludicrous. These people on the right are fucking ludicrous. Can we just figure out how to just kind of respect each other. I don't want you to get killed by the cops. I don't want to pay a lot in taxes. I don't want to go to war abroad for no fucking reason. And also fuck China. Like, I think we can all agree on all those things. I think we can come together. But because they're doing so much bickering and there's so much polarization, this gap is open in the middle, and they're too much of a pussy. Both sides are too pussy. Just hop in the middle. And Biden was supposed to be the one in the middle, but he can't put a fucking sentence together.
Here's the thing. Remember how they said the Rockets and the Lakers, this is a series for the future of the NBA?
Yeah.
Because if the Rockets won, then everyone says, fuck centers.
We don't need it.
We don't need any of that shit.
Yeah.
It was important for some people that the Lakers win just so that we don't lose our fucking minds.
Yeah.
The Rockets are like Trump, except Trump won. So what you're describing, while yes, I love centers and I love power forwards and I love the game being like some post-ups and some three-pointers and a mix of everything, that's what you're describing. But the motherfucker 4 years ago went shot only threes, didn't have a center, and won. And that's why everyone's playing the game now this way.
I understand.
Because you gotta win, Andrew. And you're right. Maybe there is something in the middle there that could appeal or whatever. But the idea is that the team that won is the one that dictates how we're going to play the next rules.
This is my only pushback of that would be that I think you can apply those same rules to the middle, which is this massive base that is existing and thirsty and dying for someone to speak for them, but they're not playing it. They're just not fucking playing it. There's this, literally 90% of the country is up for grabs and is being forced to make this decision that actually doesn't satisfy their palate because that's the only thing that's out there. And I think it's a gross miscalculation by both sides.
You know what it's like? To your point, you get a video with 1 million views or whatever on YouTube, and then you have 10,000 comments and everybody's arguing. 990,000 people didn't care enough to comment.
Right. Yeah.
You see 10,000 people arguing though, and you're like, oh my God, look at the fucking everybody's so angry. Most people don't give a fuck. Right. Now, what I was also thinking is one silver lining that could come from this divide is 2 more parties coming to the middle, and now we have 4 parties. Nothing would be better to me than dope. 4 parties. Extreme, middle left, middle right.
That would be dope. I'm all for more parties. That's the one thing I would say about a lot of the European countries that they have better than us. Right. Not all of them, because some of them are just like us, where it's basically 2 parties.
Yeah.
But the idea of having like multiple parties, that shit is cool, man. It's nice to have options. It's always nice to have options.
Question. So you said you hate the way AOC is leaning, that she's like just appeasing or trying to talk to her base.
Tribalism.
The same tactic that Trump is doing.
Correct.
Like,
I'm critical of both of them for doing the same thing. Yes.
But what's the lesser of 2 evils? Re-electing Trump, who's continuing to divide up the country, or electing Biden, who, yes, he has a little trouble putting sentences together, but he has people around him that can at least help him manage it, and he's better at trying to keep the country together.
Let me just poke holes in that logic, because I think that is solid logic, and I think a lot of people take that, right? And they go down that route. They're like, well, at least with this guy, he's got good people around him, right? Which is fair, but I don't know who's around him. And me as a voter, and let's not talk about me, Andrew Schulz, like me, just John Doe, regular voter guy, who's like, yeah, okay, fine. I know the guy's a corpse, but maybe he's got really smart people around him, and I can vote for the smart people. I don't know Kamala's practices. I don't know Kamala's strategies. I don't know
great
who
taste
she's
in
going to.
Tim's. I know that.
I hate you. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the average person doesn't know, so you're not really giving me anything to latch on to. And, AOC is coming out here and she's like, this is a vote for marginalized people. And it's like, cut it out, dude. Like, you have Kamala and Joe Biden, who do not have the best records when it comes to marginalized people. No. So cut out the bullshit. You're basically just going, hey, don't vote for the other guy, which didn't work 4 years ago when they ran on don't work for the other guy. It's like, how long do we have to prop up the Democrats until they actually take us seriously? And the same goes for Republicans, until they take us seriously and give us someone that actually appeals to our base.
I'm what Al's saying, which is, the idea is that if you vote for this guy, we're going to play dirty now, but once he gets in there, he's going to start to fix this shit and make it look like a regular country again, where you reach across the aisle and you do all that other shit and, and kind of try and lead from the middle. But for now, everyone's going to have to get their guns out and get dirty with it.
I guarantee you, and I mean this 1,000%, if there was a centrist candidate, I mean, it's 1,000%, who wasn't even attached to a party, who literally ran as an independent, but was smart enough to make the logical arguments that the American people need to be made.
Cuban. Mark fucking Cuban.
If Mark
shoulda
Cuban
run.
I thought you
came
were
out,
gonna say Kanye.
fuck it. If Mark Cuban came out, like literally, it would have to be someone smart enough and successful enough to fund their campaign. But if they came out and just made these logical fucking arguments that Americans want to hear, and they weren't worried about the pushback,
He is pro Black Lives Matter, anti-tax. He's the guy. Hey, listen, what's happening to black people is terrible. Also, I don't want to pay taxes. Pretty simple.
sexually harasses women. Both sides can support that.
So we 3 for 3 on the
We're 3
candidate.
for 3. Do you know what I mean?